Hey friends, welcome back. Today we are making a formula from Fraterworks. This one based on an analysis of Creed's Millésime Impérial or Millésime Impérial. How do you say that? How do you say it? I say Millésime Impérial. We in the United States pronounce it like that. Tell me if it's wrong. This fragrance was released by Creed in the mid-90s, 1995. That means this fragrance is 30 years old. It was perfumed by Pierre Bourdon, and if you know it, you know it. It's soft, it still has a strength to it, but it's not what I would call beast mode. It doesn't project and announce itself in a room like some fragrances do. It's a bit more subtle, but you know, there's enough to it. There's enough body to it, but for me, it sits a little closer to the skin. Now today, I'm making 85 grams. That's about 100 milliliters. It'll be just over, I'm sure, just over 100 milliliters. The end concentrate is going to be 20%. This will be an eau de parfum. And I'm not sure what to expect here. I've not made this before, though I am familiar with the original fragrance. So we're gonna see how close this gets. So let's start with this. I'm going to put a little ethanol in here because we're going to start with our base. Let's see, I need 59 and change of ethanol. So why don't I start with 20 grams? That means I'll need 39 grams when it's all done. Let me just pour this in here. Okay, we're going to do 30 grams. Okay, that'll do. What we're going to start out with today is the base. Not just base notes, because, for example, there's Damascone alpha in here, Damascone beta, and methyl-ionone. We're going to start with the smooth backdrop foundational base notes. The first things we're going to do is add in our solids, and we're going to start with the ambery materials, of which I've got 3. First, ambroxan. Now, ambroxan is about 3% of the concentrate here. I need, for this batch, this is solidifying a little bit, sticking together. I need 0.476 grams. It's going to be a little much, I can tell. This is really popping out at me today. I'm definitely getting the woody marine aspect of this. This is Orchinox I got from Fraterworks. Good stuff. This is the ambroxide molecule from MON. Okay, we're good. We'll save this for the tonalide, the other end for tonalide, but let's do our other amber materials. I got Fixador 505. This replaces Superfix in the formula. I have no idea what Superfix is. If someone knows, please make a comment. I need 0.68 grams here at 10%. Here we go. Fixador 505. Same kind of woody, amber, slightly sweet material. Norlimbanol, 100%. I'm only going to need a couple drops of this. I probably could have used a diluted version, but whatever, it's all right. I need 0.026 grams neat for this batch, which means a drop. Let's see how much. Yep, 1 drop is a heavier molecule. All right, we're good. Good. Okay, ambers are in. Let's next do our woody notes. I've got polysantal, real Mysore sandalwood, and vertofix. Let's start with our polysantal. About 1/2 gram neat. Polysantal is a wonderful sandalwood material. Of course, it is sandalwoody, creamy. I'm getting a little fruit today off of this, like a nice brightness, almost like a bergamot off the top. I'm not going to complain. It smells lovely. It smells lovely. What I need to do is mix this with some Hedione and Isoe Super, and then spray it and smell it. I've discovered that with just a couple of other materials that are pretty neutral, but have a way of accentuating or highlighting a material, I can sometimes better understand that material, or at least see it in action. For example, when I smell Bactinol, it's rosy, rich, sandalwood, strong. And when I compare it to Sandalore, another sandalwood material, but creamier, much creamier, less floral, less rosy. Okay, next, let's do our sandalwood. Real sandalwood. 0.17 grams. Neat, delicate, woody, creamy, luxurious. And done. What I'm expecting from this base when it's all said and done is just a sweet, warm, neutral foundation. Vertofix, I need 1.36 grams, and it's about time for me to clean the lip again, lest I be unable to open the bottle. Let's see if I have enough here. I don't know. If this is a heavier molecule, then I'll have enough. Otherwise, I'll need to get into the big jar. Yeah. Looks like we're getting into the big jar. Okay. I need 0.36 more grams. All right. Big bottle here. Yeah. Dry, woody, a little green, a little leathery, but very dry. Where I'd say Isoe Super is a lovely blender. It's very neutral. Vertofix is also another lovely blender, but it's less neutral. There's a little more personality to Vertofix than something like Isoe Super. Okay. Have to refill that. Okay, next, while we're at it, let's add our Isoe Super. We've got 2.89 grams neat. These are funny numbers because I cut the batch size down to 85 grams. This was originally at 100 grams, and the numbers were quite round, quite easy to understand. Okay, just about 2.9 grams. We're almost there. Now, Isoe Super is very delicate in the nose. It doesn't smell strong. It doesn't smell strongly of anything. But it has a warm feeling, a woody feeling, an ambery feeling. Okay, next. tonalide, also known as fixolide musk tetralin, 0.85 grams. I forgot. Let's take a quick peek at the structure of this formula. Like most or many that I put together, most of this is in the base and the bottom, roughly, 70% and change. If we look at the fingerprint down below, a lot of woody materials, that's Vertofix, sandalwood, Isoe Super, or sandalwood's here, a lot of musks, and interestingly, a lot of animalic notes. And these animalic notes are a bit more delicate. These are like muscone, muskinone, and there's some ambergris. There's an ambergris replacement in here. So they're not aggressively animalic, but they are animalic, and that really helps to add a warm tone to the fragrance. And then of course we have our aromatic and herbal notes, consisting mostly of dihydromercenol and linalool acetate. Some good citruses for just a bright opening. And then we've got our jasmine muguet notes, a lot of hedione and hedione HC. So let's get back to our tonalide. Roughly 5.5% of the concentrate is in tonalide. And tonalide is a wonderful, wonderful musk. It's rich, it's relatively clean, but it's warm. It's not necessarily metallic. I might be on the powdery side, almost like it's trying to tilt in that nitro musk direction. And if you've never smelled a nitro musk, the nitro musks, most of which are now banned, because of their fat solubility. I think they stay in your system, and they were shown to have potential reproductive health consequences for mothers in particular. But in any case, the nitro musks have a very fatty smell to them, and they're lovely. But tonalide almost wants to push in that direction. Next, let's do our galaxolide. Here we're using galaxolide 50, 1.2 grams. Ooh. Ubiquitous material, galaxolide. Absolutely necessary in perfumery if you're just getting started. I've got just enough room here to give this a little blend. This is already dissolving nicely. The tonalide will take a while because the crystals, they stick together. They just take a while. There's not much surface area with the tonalide, so it takes a little bit longer to dissolve. But that's okay. We got a few more to do. Okay, next up, centolide. Another name for ambretolide or isoambretolide. Now, like most of the molecules, there are dextro-levo versions, there's cis versions and trans versions, alpha, beta, gamma versions of these molecules. The ambretolide materials, I won't say they're all the same, but they're all close enough for beginners. Don't feel like you need to go out and get centolide if you have ambretolide. Or don't go get ambretolide HC if you have ambretolide. It'll work fine. It will work fine. 0.51 grams, neat. Okay. Now, I am going to pause here. I'm going to pause here even though we're not entirely done with our base. What I want to do is I want to smell this base. Remember, this is amber, sandalwood, and musk. And I want to compare it to the next base addition, which is our animalic notes. So we'll just put base 1. And I know the tonalide isn't fully dissolved. You know, it's okay. It is okay. And while I've got it here, I'll just write Animalic number 2. Okay. Okay. Next up, let's do our animalic notes, and let's start with our exaltalide. Now, like everything in perfumery, not everything is binary. It either is animalic or it's not animalic. It is fruity or it's not fruity. Nothing is like that. Everything is on a spectrum. Everything is on a gradient. Exaltalide is animalic, but it's delicate. Very delicate. It's warm. It's not as animalic as, say, muscanone, but it still has an animalic quality to it. Now, this is a diluted version. This is Exaltalide 50. I'll use about 0.2 grams. Exaltalide, oops, I doubled the amount of Exaltalide. My bad, but that's okay. This will not ruin the formula. Where was I? So yes, Exaltalide, not as animalic as muscanone, muscone. It's just different nature, but it still is animalic. So let's do our muscanone. 0.68 grams, neat. Fair bit of muscanone. Interestingly, there are equal parts muscanone and muscone, about 4.4% of the concentrate each. So 8% of the concentrate is in muscone and muscanone. Now these are soft, warm, delicate. Yes, they are animalic, but animalic as if you were to smell a person who had just showered but used an odorless soap, and you get up close and you smell their skin, it's almost like you smell the heat off of them. You smell the oils in their skin. That's what muscone reminds me of, at least. Muscanone is a little bit more animalic in like the fur direction, almost like a wet fur, but it's still nuanced and it's gorgeous. Now, interestingly, this formula calls for muscone levo specifically. Muscone levo, I need to revisit my muscone analysis, is supposedly much stronger than normal muscone. But that said, there's so much animalic stuff in here, I don't know if it'll make or break your formula. It might change the nuance of your formula if you choose to use muscone versus muscone levo. But if you don't have muscone levo and you have muscone, just use muscone. Again, 0.68 grams. On that note, if you don't even have muscone, if you say just have muscanone, well, then just use muscanone for both of them. Just do 0.68 grams neat twice. And let's say you don't have muscanone or muscanone, but you have exaltalide. Well, just use exaltalide for everything. You're not going to nail the formula. It will be different. If you ask, what can I use to replace such and such molecule or material? Just remember, the fragrance you make tends to smell like the things that you put in it. So if you put something different in it, it's going to smell different. Period. Okay? Period. And that's okay. That's okay, especially because some materials, though they do not smell the same, they serve a similar function. Like muscanone, muscone, dare I say exaltalide, they serve a similar function. So sometimes You don't need to find something that smells the same. You need to find something that serves a similar function. Last, ambergris olefac from IFF. Now this is interesting because this is like ambronol, but toned down, given a little bit more lift and a little bit more marine, woody sea breeze. But it's nice. It's ambery, and if this is anything, if this is what real ambergris smells like, interesting. I've never smelled real ambergris. I need 0.34 grams at 10%. Okay, that's it. That is it, baby. Okay, let's give this a blend. And I already have it written down, so we'll dip. All right, I'm not going to smell it yet. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more groups. When we have the base, what I typically like to do is now build the body. Most of the time, many times, the body is made up of florals and aromatics. And there might be other colors in there, other effects like lifting notes, notes that pop, but push comes to shove. A lot of the heart of a fragrance are in aromatic notes and floral notes. Now, we are going to add in the floral and some of the fruity notes because, you know, they fit well with the floral vibe. And then we're going to add in our aromatic notes because that will just help support and a little bit more body. So let us start with methyl ionone gamma. A very important piece of the puzzle, in the floral puzzle. Quite often, we need 0.204 grams neat. Quite often, when you're looking at the floral materials that go into a formula, you don't only find rose. You don't only find rose and lily of the valley, or rose and jasmine. You'll quite often find three different florals, 3 or more. And I include violet and violet notes, the woody ionones, as floral materials. That's how I classify them, at least. So this is ionone beta, 0.34 grams. Definitely ionone E, violet-y, but certainly dry and woody at the same time. I need 0.34 grams. But in any case, my current understanding, is that these ionones add a color to the floral heart. It adds a little more brightness and a little more soft push to a rose accord. It adds a little more depth and color to a lily of the valley accord. And these three, when you mix, I'm putting lily of the valley and jasmine together. There's a few crossover materials there, but rose, lily of the valley, jasmine, and violet, those 3 or 4 notes combined are like Captain Planet. They're great on their own, but you mix them together in various proportions and they're just mind-blowing. The beauty that can be generated from it is mind-blowing. Next up, linalool. And the jury is still out on how we say this. Linalool? 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 What do you think? 0.17 grams. Okay. Linalool done. Linalool is in so many fragrances as a booster, filler, a chameleon kind of note in that it can work with a bunch of different things, and it's the bridge between florals and citrus. It's brilliant stuff. All right, next, rose oxide. Now, interestingly, I'm using rose oxide high cis. This is strong. This is strong stuff. It's at 1%. I need basically 1 drop, 1.5 drops, 0.17 grams. We'll do 2 drops because YOLO. The formula calls for rose oxide Levo. Don't have that. It's the one rose oxide I don't have. And this is a perfect case where if I really wanted to be true to the formula, I would go to Fraterworks, I would pick up some rose oxide Levo, and I'd swap it in. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference at the very end of the formula. Probably wouldn't be able to tell. So should I go buy it? I mean, I could, but I'm happy with my rose oxide, the racemic, and then the high cis. For now, this will have to do. And I'll just have to trust that though I'm getting the formula a little bit wrong, I'm not ruining anything. Okay, we have a few more fruity notes. Let's do some ethyl acetate, 10%. Now, interestingly, this was an old batch. This was 3 years old in this dilution. I don't use it there that often. So I smelled it. I remember the first time smelling this. I remember the experience, and I wasn't really having that experience when I smelled it. So I dumped it out, made a fresh dilution. I need 0.153 grams at 10%. And I keep this stuff in the fridge because I keep the neat stuff in the fridge because I rarely use it. Now, I had 50 grams in the fridge in a closed bottle. And I open up the bottle and there is 0.6 grams left. I know there's 0.6 grams because that's how much I pulled and put into this. It had evaporated. Even inside my fridge. Well, maybe for the 6 months I actually did not have a fridge. Maybe that's when it evaporated, but it evaporated. That gives you a sense of how volatile this is, and you can feel it in your nose when you smell this. This is a volatile material. This is definitely a top note. It's fruity, it's boozy. Cognac is usually used as a descriptor for ethyl acetate, but this stuff pops. This is like the edge of a knife on the smell. You've got the steel as your floral materials, your aromatic materials, but right on the edge, you've got things like ethyl acetate that are helping it cut. Another thing that helps it cut will be cashmerean. We'll add this in just a minute. But first, let's add our damascones. First up, we're going to add Damascone Alpha. Damascone, not to be confused with Damascanone. I need 0.043 grams at 10%. Now, Damascone Alpha is like a ripe apple, a very ripe apple. When you smell Damascanone, that's like plum to me. All right, Damascone Beta. This is at 1%, 0.068 grams. If I remember correctly, this is a bit darker. Same rich, ripe apple peel vibe, but I think it's a touch darker. That's the way I'm remembering it right now. Next, a new material, dihydroactinidilide. Say that 10 times fast. This is at 10%. This is just diluted today. I tried to do an evaluation of this. This is a softer material. It's a base note. It comes as a solid, comes as a powder. It's fruity, sweet, apricot. But that's just what the notes say. I was really unable to smell this with any quality interpretation today. Maybe it needs time to sit in the ethanol. By the way, I needed 0.17 grams at 10%. Okay, now last up for our floral core. Yeah, you know what? I'll save the cashmerean. Cashmerean doesn't fit anywhere. Friends, where do you put cashmerean? How do you interpret cashmerean? It's a thing on its own. It's sure you could put it in the musk category, but it's not a base note. It doesn't last for days. It's extremely metallic. It's bright, but it's ambery and musky. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. And I'll say, once you start to get the hang of what this smells like in a formula, you can start picking it out, especially when it's more highly concentrated. You can start to pick it out. So let me mix this a little bit. And then we'll dip. Remember, when I dip, you dip, we dip. We're going to put floral number 3. Floral number 3. Okay. Next, we're going to save the green notes. We're going to save the green notes. And now we're going to get to the herbals and aromatics, and we're going to include the cashmerean. And while we're talking about cashmerean, let's do it. Let's go. 0.374 grams. Yeah. Yeah, is it a musk? Is it an amber? The cashmerean is a good example of, if I don't have cashmerean, what can I use to replace it? Well, a lot of people may put this in the musk or amber category. Like, I think IFF makes it to straddle musk and amber. This is 0.374 grams at 50%. But you would not do well to replace this with, say, ethylene brassylate, galaxolide. I don't know. I don't think those are sharp enough. I think in function, my preference would be to use something like linalool acetate. Yes, this does not last as long as cashmerean, but cashmerean does not last as long as, say, galaxolide or one of those other workhorse materials. To my nose, cashmerean pops. It cuts. So I would want to replace it with something else that cuts, or maybe split it 50-50. If I didn't have cashmerean, maybe I'd juice the linalool acetate a bit more, and then I'd juice the galaxolide a little bit more and just split the difference. But I don't know. You'd have to test it out. And you'd have to do more than an A-B test. It would be an A, B, C, D, all the way to Z test, probably, to figure out what you like. Now next, let's do linalool acetate. 0.68 grams. Neat. This is good stuff. So, ooh, perfect. So simple. It's bright, floral, a little fruity. That acetate group gives it some fruitiness, some richness. But it's herbal in the way that, say, clary sage is herbal. Next up, no pill acetate, 0.51 grams at 10%. This is a lot like linalool acetate to my nose, but it's just dirtier. It's just dirtier. If you don't have no pill acetate, you could probably use a little, I wouldn't even sweat it. I would just leave it out entirely, or just add the bit to linalool acetate. Let's get our 0.51 grams in here. The no pill acetate is a little bit more woody, pine-y. So it is in that direction and dirty. So maybe if you had like a pine note you'd want to throw in, but it's not as strong. It's not as strong as a pine note, so you'd have to put in a little bit less. Okay. The granddaddy dihydromercenol. It's like a green aromatic version of linalool, or of linalool, however you say it. 1.19 grams, neat. All right. So this stuff is fresh. And if you've never smelled dihydromercenol on its own, that's okay. You just need to smell the men's freshies of the 90s, the sport fragrances of the 90s, or if you just smell green Irish tweed or cool water, there's a lot of dihydromercenol in it. Okay, so we got all of that. Great. Let's blend. Remember, when I dip, you dip, we dip. And we will write aromatic in Cashmerean. This is number 4. We are trucking, my friends. So next up, we're going to do something a little different. Usually what I would do at this point is add green notes. And then I would continue with the lifting notes, the muguet, like the lilial, melanal, we've got floral, ozone, helional, and hedione. Usually I would do greens and then the lifting muguet materials, ozonic and lifting materials. I'm going to do this flipped around though. I first am going to put in some of these ozonic and lily of the valley notes because I want to lift this right now. And then I want to drop in these green notes and I want to see how they fill in the space because the muguet notes tend to lift the fragrance, expand the fragrance, and create a little bit more space for the fragrance to breathe. So first, let's start with hedione. I'm using not Firmenish's hedione, I'm using IFF's Charismal. Oh, don't use that, Ryan. Don't use that. And I'm using Charismal 50. I can already smell it coming out of the bottle. 2.72 grams at 50%. Fine by me. 2.72. Okay, that's fine. And this is another material that's a little bit hard to smell on its own. It's a little green. It's light. It's a little oily. It's bright. It's soft. It's very delicate. And when you put it into a fragrance, it adds a floral quality to all of it. It lifts it up, gives a little bit of shine. It's like you polish, you polish a piece of brass. It gives it some shine, or polish your shoes. Next up, Charismal Super, or Hedione HC. Now this replaces Paradisone, a proprietary blend, I believe, Fraterworks offers that is meant to replicate the effect of paradisomide. I think it's paradisomide from the captive hedione material, methyl dihydrojasmonate. I think it's Firmenich, but I can't remember. I know someone will correct me, but in any case, this is a replacement material in the formula. 1.87 grams at 50%. And I do have plenty of this neat. In fact, I've got 5 kilograms right here. Oh, yeah. 5 kilos of hedione. Oh, but I open this stuff, I open it and close it, I expose it to air over and over again. And so what I will do is I will dilute this to 50%. And for you old timers who've been watching me for a while, you know that my ethanol is pre-treated with butylated hydroxytoluene, otherwise known as BHT, a low antioxidant that extends the life of the hedione. What's going on? Lilial, you're getting a little sticky there. All right, we're good. Lilial, real Lilial. 0.68 grams at 10%. I wonder if they will ever reverse the European Union ban on Lilial, or the ban in California. I've heard from reputable sources that the science and research around Lilial and Liral, around those bans, may have been a little shoddy, there may have been room for improvement. Perhaps they were quick to judge, it's just what I've heard. But it's not like you can't work around it, but still. Smells so good. All right, next up. Let's do our Helional. Helional. It's like Cologne's little cousin that is not nearly as strong and it's got a little fruity aspect to it. 1.02 grams at 10%. Okay, next, Melanal. Ozonic. A little bit, I'd say a little stronger than Helional on the ozonic side. Like if you were to compare it to Cologne, even more towards the strength of Cologne. Not nearly. Cologne's an absolute beast, but this is a fruity ozonic note. It helps provide clarity and lift. It's beautiful. Melanal 0.119 grams at 10%. Perfect. Don't need to add one more. Perfect. Okay, and last, floral ozone. And there's just going to be one drop of floral ozone. 0.017 grams, maybe 1.5. Let's see how we do. Yeah, need to get in just a little splash more. That'll be fine. I love floral ozone because it's I don't want to say more floral. It is more floral, but it's like, it's more green to my nose. It's just, it's fresher. It's beautiful. And I learned recently it pairs well with musk ketone. Doing a little Jean Carl's study, and on the docket was musk ketone and floral ozone. And so I put the two together in varying amounts, going overweight one way, then overweight the other, then balanced. And just generally speaking, they pair well together. So here I'm going to write muguet and ozone. And that's number 5. And we've got 2 more groups, my friends. We've got these green materials, and then we've got our citrus, which we'll do last. The green materials, they're kind of a mix between floral and green. And some of them are like bridge materials. Like I have violet here, which is interesting. It's floral, it's fruity, it's green. It's called violet, like violet, but like liferome also. I mean, it's like, I don't know where they came up with this name, but I don't know how to classify this. I've got allyl amyl glycolate, which I have right now as a fruity note, but it's also green and pineapple-y at the same time. So I don't know, where do you put it? Then we've got aldehyde dimethyl acetyl. This is leafy. It's sweet and honeyed. It's floral, but it's also green. I don't know. This is kind of a mishmash group. What we're going to start with is cis-3-hexanyl acetate. It's a lot like cis-3-hexanol, that rich, oily, green grass smell. I need 0.068 grams at 1%. But it has that acetate group on it, so it's a little bit dirty, fruity. It's a little bit richer, a little bit darker. Next, neofolion. I haven't smelled neofolion in a while. I've smelled a ton of methyl octene carbonate and methyl heptene carbonate, otherwise known as folion, but I haven't smelled a bunch of neofolion. It doesn't come up in a lot of formulas often, and it's not one that I reach for when I'm developing formulas myself. 0.119 at 10%. Okay. Okay, neofolione, not nearly as strong as folione or methylheptene carbonate. It's green, it's transparent, it's leafy. Oh, it's warming up a little bit now. It's getting a little bit stronger. It's funny, when I dip this, as the ethanol evaporates off the strip, if I slip it into something diluted, that ethanol needs to evaporate before I can actually smell this. It's like the ethanol's getting in the way in my nose and I can't smell. Yeah, okay. It's like a very, very toned down folione. It's nice. It's nice. Next, phenyl acetaldehyde dimethyl acetyl. And this says I need a 1%, but I don't have 1%. I only have 10%. So I'm going to divide this by 10 and do 1 drop. 0.014 grams. And that might be all you need here. This stuff is strong. Strong stuff. It's green, it's floral, it's honeyed, and it's thick. Next, let's do our spearmint. Oh no, we'll do our violet. Do our violet. 0.34 grams. This is a relatively new one. Violet is not in many formulas, but I can see how it complements the formula that we're creating because we have these ozonic notes, these fruity notes, these floral notes, and violet on its own embodies a lot of those. Floral, it's ozonic, it's fruity, it's a little dirty, like we're going in the aromatic, like the clary stage direction. So it's an interesting material that kind of connects all of the rest. Next up, we'll do our allyl amyl glycolate, otherwise known as isogalbanate. We need 0.085 grams at 10%. It's a little green, a little fruity, a little brightness right on the edge. This is one of those materials that it's in a lot of formulas that I've read. But it's hard to smell on its own, which makes me think I need to study this more in conjunction with other materials, because why would this be used so much if it doesn't have a meaningful effect on the friends that it plays with? So need to do more testing. Okay, last but not least, I know this is kind of an oddball. This could have gone, probably should have gone in the aromatics. This is spearmint. This is spearmint, 0.068 grams, so not much at 10%. Bright, fresh, good old mint. Okay. Nope, gonna hold on to that. We've only got one more, friends, and that's our citrus. Let's start bergamot. About 10% of this formula are in, or the concentrate is in citrus notes. Bergamot, 2.7 grams at 50%. Again, you ask, why do I have this diluted to 50%? I use bergamot all the time. I open this up, expose it to oxygen all the time. So I dilute it with my pre-treated BHT, and it lengthens the life of my materials. Next up, lemon. Cold pressed lemon. Delish. Delish. I love the smell of limonene, especially because limonene is a single molecule, yet it seems to have a life of its own dry down where it kind of changes. When this is at 50%, I need 0.238 grams. When I first smell pure limonene, I get this bright zing and sharpness in my nose. And then as time goes on, that sharpness has gone away, and what I smell is this wonderful, fuzzy, citrusy woodiness. And I don't know, is it just me? Is it just me? What's causing that? One would think if it's a single molecule, it shouldn't have the dry down pattern of an essential oil where the volatile top notes evaporate, then you have the more stable mid notes, and then those go away after time. With an aroma chemical, it should just be a standard rate of decay, but the smells shouldn't change. But for some reason, I don't smell that. I have a different experience with that. Next and last, green mandarin. 0.51 grams neat. Oh boy. I am looking forward to this. Let's give it a good blend. When I dip, you dip, we dip. And we're going to write citrus on here so we do not forget. And let's start evaluating. First up, our base. This was just the amber materials, the musks, and the sandalwood. And this is very subtle. It's hard to smell, but you can smell there's musk. You're getting the sandalwood, creamy sandalwood effect. Yeah, simple, straightforward, I guess hard to parse. The same way if you're at a piano and you take your hand at the bottom of the piano and you just press all the notes together, it's hard to discern what it is you're hearing. The same way with bass notes, at least with a lot of the musks, the woods, the ambers, when I mash up all those together, my brain has a hard time splitting them apart. Whereas if you take some of the higher notes like lemon, linalool, linylyl acetate, my brain can better parse out, what those are. Just like if you were to move your hand up the scale on the piano and then press the notes there. Next up, we added the animalic notes, the muscanone, exaltalide, and the ambergris olefac. Okay, this adds an animalic warmth to our base. It's lovely. I'm glad I smelled that. I'm glad I split those up. But this is lovely, and it's noticeable. The animalic notes are noticeable. Next up, we added our floral materials. This included the linalool rose oxide, the ionone beta, the methyl ionone gamma, and did we do the Damascenones? And we did our fruit notes as well, didn't we? The Damascone, dihydroactinodiolide. Whew, that one's tough. This adds a little color and a little lift, a little floral body, and I mean a little. This is barely noticeable, but it's there. Oddly enough, the muscone, and the ambergris are actually still driving the bus as far as delivering the edge of the smell here. But the linalool is noticeable, and the ionones are noticeable, but they're very subtle. Here we added the cashmeran and the dihydromercenol, linylyl acetate, and the nopal acetate. This is aromatic. This is a smooth dihydromercenol. Interesting that with if you have 2 parts dihydromercenol, 1 part linylyl acetate, it kind of smooths down the fuzziness. There's a zingy buzz in dihydromercenol that I associate. Of course, I associate smells with sounds, but there's a buzz in dihydromercenol. Linalool acetate helps tone it down, which is interesting. Interestingly, I'm not zeroing in on the cashmerean like I normally do. Almost like it's playing well together with its friends, dihydromercenol. Next up, we have our muguet and our ozone notes. And this includes our hedione, our lilial, but then the floral ozone, melanal, and helional. Definitely adding ozonic notes. Definitely adding the ozonic notes. Interestingly though, where we're at right now, I still, usually by this point, 5, 6, 6 out of 8 strips in, I would be thinking, oh, I can smell the formula we're trying to get to, the fragrance we're trying to get to. I'm still not there with this. I'm getting the calm, soft, subdued, and ozonic vibe, but there's a melony, sweet, fruity something in Millésime Impérial that I'm not getting right now. Next up, the green notes. So this is the cis-3-hexanyl acetate, neofolione, phenylacetaldehyde dimethyl acetyl violif, spearmint, and allyl amyl glycolate. And this adds a very delicate complement to the aromatic notes and the things before. Extremely delicate. A little leafy. Smells good. Okay, last but not least, the citrus. Bergamot, lemon, and mandarin. Okay. Adds a little limonene up top, little extra beef up top. You know what we forgot? The final bit of ethanol. I'm going to blend this, then I'm going to put it on skin and see how we do. All right, let's put some on the skin. All right. Okay, this is hard to tell. Right now, I'm getting heavy citrus on top. That's probably because this is fresh juice. Okay, I take a deeper breath. I can get the Millésime Impérial heart. The melony ozone. Once that limonene falls off a little bit from the lemon. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. This is nice. This is nice. It smells so subtle. But this is nice. This is definitely in the spirit of Millésime Impérial. I'd say it gets you close. I'd say it gets you close. This is a worthy formula to try. And not just try, but a worthy formula to learn from. I get so many messages and questions from people who are saying, oh, I want to start doing this perfumery, I want to start doing this. I mean, what's stopping you? Go to Perfumer's Apprentice, get the 4 milliliter, small sizes of the things, get yourself some pipettes. You don't even need a scale to just drop one thing into the other, Get some 10 milliliter amber bars and don't even worry about what it is that you're getting. Just get anything just to get started. Just to get started. It's so much fun. And you learn so much on the way. Thank you for joining me, friends. I know it's been a while since the last video, so I appreciate your patience. I will be launching a store soon. My goal is August 1st to have the store up and running. There will be at least 10 fragrances between 50 mils and 100 mils. And then I keep making more. So keep your eyes open for the announcement for the store opening. But again, that will be coming soon. Thanks again for joining me, everyone. I'll see you soon.